Hello, welcome back. This is Business Extra. Tonight we're joined by the Chief Executive of what's just become the biggest enterprise agency in the country, NWES. We'll hear more about how that happened and what it means in a moment, but first, let's catch up on the business headlines for the week. There's a big boost for Norfolk businesses this week with the announcement that high-speed broadband is set to reach 95% of the county by 2020 after another £11 million of funding was secured. The cash has come from 5 Norfolk district councils, the government and a special BT fund, and it will bring the total invested in the Better Broadband for Norfolk programme to £68 million. Since it launched in 2012, hundreds of broadband cabinets and thousands of miles of fibre optic cable have been installed in the county, doubling the number of properties that can get superfast speeds. Council leaders say reaching the 95% target will be a great achievement and make a huge difference to businesses. New figures show more people in the east of England are claiming job seekers allowance. It means almost 46,000 claimed unemployment-related benefits in the region in January, with about 7,500 of those thought to be in Norfolk. It's despite the number of people in work nationally hitting a record high. Now, 2 organisations that promote Norwich are going to start working more closely together. Norwich Business Improvement District, or BID, and Visit Norwich already share an office, but are now preparing to start sharing staff and board members too. They will remain separate brands, but while bosses say they've been successful individually on small budgets, they now want to push forward in the same direction. And a Norwich business owner has been shortlisted for a national award. Dwayne De Bartolomeo, who's the co-owner of Grosvenor Fish Bar in the Lanes, is one of 10 people across the country shortlisted for the Tourism Superstar Prize in Visit England Awards for Excellence. He took over the restaurant in 2012 after moving to Norwich from America. He's up against the likes of a town crier and a park ranger and is appealing for people to head online and vote.
I'd be very, very happy, obviously, very happy, and just thankful for everybody who, when I was going through the queue today and people were saying, I voted for you, and I just feel like I would feel very appreciative of what they have done to help me get that.
Now, tonight we're talking about some big news for NWES, or Norfolk and Waveney Enterprise Services, to give it its full name. For 35 years, the Enterprise Agency has been supporting aspiring entrepreneurs and small businesses across our part of the world. And now things are about to get bigger. They've just acquired MBV, who are their counterparts in Nottingham. And here to tell us about it is the Chief Executive of NWES, Kevin Horn. Kevin, good evening.
Good evening.
Just exactly what does this mean, this acquisition?
Hopefully very exciting news, because it will enable us to help a lot more people to follow their dream and start up and grow their own business. And by bringing 2 good organisations together means that we can actually do more than we could individually.
And the basics, just for people who don't understand these terms, the Enterprise Agency, NBV, NWES, what does that all mean? What is an enterprise agency?
Well, we were set up back in the very early 1980s to really combat the high unemployment that we're seeing with a lot of big companies failing at that particular time. Ourselves, we were set up due to the Pi TV factory in Lowestoft closing down. And we were set up to help people to start up their own businesses, which we did on a small scale in Lowestoft and then further Great Yarmouth, but have really expanded to cover all of the east of England and London, and now the East Midlands too. And that means that we can provide business advice, training, support, finance, loans, grants and property as well to any new or growing business.
And what sort of examples of businesses do you deal with? Is it across the whole spectrum, or is it a specific type of business that you work with?
Over the years, I think practically every business idea that you can think of we've had come through our doors, big and small, and we don't judge anybody on their ideas when they start. We sometimes have the kind of traditional one-man tradesperson come in who wants to set up their business with maybe a van and tools and become self-employed. But we've also had some really big local companies who have set up with us and joined us and have benefited from our support. Some good examples are Three Sun in Great Yarmouth and Seajacks, both of whom were our tenants in Beacon Innovation Centre in the early days.
And both of those going on to take on more staff?
Hundreds.
Yeah. So what sort of support, you mentioned there, you've got sort of business coaches, I guess you'd say?
Yeah, we have a team of business advisors and mentors, and they're like your GP. They will give you the kind of generic advice that you need to help start up and grow a business. If you need specialist sector support, we usually have access to that too. But for most people, the GP kind of work, the general advisor work, is what they need to get their business plan in place, get their financing sorted out and start up in their business.
So this growth then, this is actually the second acquisition for you in the last 4 months, I think, and now the biggest agency of its kind in the country. What do you put that growth down to?
I think to a certain extent, if we don't grow, I think it would be managed decline and we would eventually die. The world is changing, the business world is changing, what people require is changing. And if we don't change, then similarly, then I think that we would just gradually die. And so over the years, we've worked together with a number of organisations and started closer cooperation in recent months with a view to acquiring them. And whilst the last two have been two big ones, there may be more in the future too.
Does it mean there's more support, more demand for your services? I mean, is this a time in business where people are reaching out to places like NWES to get that support?
The answer is yes. I mean, I think last year we helped to set up about 1,500 new businesses, as well as the existing business that we have.
Is that the biggest ever that you've had?
It is. That's the biggest annual number ever. We're finding that people come to us for all kinds of reasons. Maybe 10 years ago, the majority of people who came to us were unemployed, and to a certain extent self-employment was their only option or the last option. Now the vast majority of people who come to us are already in business, already in jobs, and they are making a lifestyle choice that they want to set up and follow their own dream.
And are a large proportion of those people successful in what they want to do?
The answer is yes. We benchmark ourselves against the figures that the banks provide as to how many business failures there are each year. And it's been proven over many, many years that if you come to us, you've got a much higher chance of success and also a much higher chance of growing your business in excess of what you would have done without our support.
What I'm interested in is this is not-for-profit, isn't it? NWES is a not-for-profit agency. So what does success look like for you guys? What's the goal?
Right. When people say not-for-profit, they sometimes think, well, does that mean you're a charity? And the answer is no. We are a private company. It's just that we don't provide any dividends to shareholders for any of the profits that we make. So we have to operate like any other business, earn our income. But what it does mean that we plough 100% of all surpluses that we make back into the business to support more clients. So we've grown from an initial staff of 4 to now over 150, from an initial turnover of less than 200,000 to one now of probably 12 million.
I mean, that is a staggering rise. And are we talking more staff now? Now we've seen more growth, more acquisitions. Does that mean more jobs?
I think it will, because we're also having to adapt to a new workplace. And so we're finding much more people want to have online support. And so we will be extending our hours. Traditionally, we've operated kind of Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. But that's not how people who are setting up their business, they operate. They might want to chat to somebody on Sunday afternoon. So we'll be moving to a 7-day-a-week service with more kind of call centre hours, if you think of it that way. And that will mean that we will be taking on more staff. Probably in the next couple of months we will be looking at a recruitment drive.
And I just want to touch on the local picture, because you've obviously got centres in Yarmouth, in Norwich, in Lynn. In Norfolk, do we pull our weight when it comes to these start-up businesses, these small businesses? Are we at the top of the table there, or are we lower down?
That's very interesting, because if you look at the national statistics, they will probably say, well, Norfolk is nothing particularly special. That's not true. When you look at the number of new businesses compared to those who die, we're actually near the very top, which just proves that we are growing our businesses and keeping them. It's not just set one up, one fails. So we do very well compared to most other parts of the country. And in terms of business support, I would say that people in Norfolk have more support than practically any other county in the country.
There we go, a lucky place to be. Kevin, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Okay, that's about all we've got time for tonight, but remember to drop us a line with your thoughts and of course your business stories. You can find us on Twitter, we're @MustardTV, and you can also get the latest news by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Business Extra will be back at the same time next week, but for now my thanks to Kevin, to you for watching at home. Have a very good night.